I was not ready for what's under that bonnet. This customer comes in, they want to install a carbon fiber bonnet and 2 quick releases in the front of the car. It's like, yeah, no worries, we've done that 1,000 times. We've played around with carbon bonnets a fair bit. And then I'm looking for the latch, can't find it. Look down here, I'm like, oh, it's right here. Look what is staring into my soul. Pop the bonnet, I'm like, what the f is going on? Speaking to the customer, it's pushing 1,600 horsepower at the wheels. I promise you cannot pick it from the outside. Our job is to install the carbon fiber bonnet, the quick releases, and make sure it can hold up going 300 kilometers an hour. All right, so we've got the old bonnet off, put the new carbon fiber bonnet on. That thing is actually beautiful. It's carbon all the way through. All the inside's all carbon, and just look how beautiful that all is. All the vents are perfect. There's no cracking. Anytime we get any fiberglass or carbon fiber parts, we always check for any stress fractures and delaminating around the edges. But this looks like a really good bonnet. And yes, the step would just be to get a roll of tape and go over the whole engine bay. All the places that look like they're about to hit or it seems a bit too high, we'll chuck some tape on it and see if that is actually touching the bonnet from the inside, because the last thing we want to do is scratch this beautiful bonnet. Piece of tape, exactly where we think it might hit, and just cover all that up. Alright, so I'm also doing where the battery tie down point is and the negative terminal, just in case. It might not touch, but better be safe than sorry. Right, so I'm most likely ODing with all this tape, but I've done the top of the negative terminal and the tie down strap for the battery, the rocker cover, and the top of the exhaust manifold. I don't know what this thing is, and the radiator, the tops of the radiator. The main goal is just to make sure everything that looks like it might touch, see how that's still poking out. We're just trying to cover that, so if that bonnet does come down and touch it, it doesn't scratch it. What we need to do is just get something to be able to mark out where that bonnet's touching and if it is touching on the tops of these or not. And that's the thing for that. Yo, Nick, pass your lube. Thanks, mate. All right, so this is just some moisturizing cream. We're just going to put it on the tops of all the spots that we think might touch at the highest points of all those points. Most of them hit right on this part, so we can check all that, and just the high spots on this. Maybe here. I think I need some moisturizing cream. Better, isn't it? Most of you that don't know, I've actually optioned in for the matte PPF look from factory. Yeah, don't hate. Alright, so that's all the parts that I'm guessing will touch. That's all covered. They've got a bit of cream on top of on all the high spots. Now all that's left is we shut the bonnet and just see if any of this lube ends up on the inside of the bonnet. That means that part is touching and it will have to get grinded down or addressed. Let's check. Give it some pressure. All the spots over here. Yeah, that feels like it's touching right there. It's not moving at all. There. That didn't need it. Didn't need it. Beautiful. Now we open it back up and check if I can find this thing. There it is. Oh. Beautiful. So as you can see right there, it is touching really hard. It's basically squished out all the cream and it's all on there. And But that doesn't mean that none of these are touching. That just means that that's the first point that's holding the bonnet from closing all the way down. Because as you can see, when it's fully shut, when it's shut, you can still see that massive gap, and that's what we'll be trying to close up. So the bonnet can actually lock into place. All right, so I'll grind this all down and then double check if anywhere else is touching. Start by grinding this one specific spot that we already found. But before all that, we'll just make sure to cover the whole engine, cover the whole car, just so we don't get it all dusty, because it is very, very, very clean already. I'll just chuck some plastic on top and I'll be right back. 1 sec. All right, so the engine bay is all covered now. Just making sure that no dust gets into the engine bay or to the turbo or anything. All that I'm going to be doing now is just grinding out that mark that's been left by the bonnet touching the battery terminal, and I'll just be grinding it bit by bit, making sure to cut out enough, but not cut out way too much, if that makes sense. Now we just do the exact same process again, make sure that it's not touching there. So we'll add a bit more to where it was touching. There, spread it around. And check the bonnet. Lift it back up, that's already shutting better. Yeah. Now we've only got that top corner that's touching. We'll grind a bit more and test it again. As you can see, I've grinded it just a bit more where it's touching right up there. That's all grinded back. I've still got some cream on that battery terminal, which appears to be the most bit that's really touching. So we'll test it one more time, and hopefully it's not touching this time. Yeah, that's so much better. That's already so much better. It's still touching somewhere. We just need to figure it out now. So again, open and close the bonnet. Test it a couple times. See right there, still touching. Need to grind that back off. Yeah, so I'll grind that and we'll test it one more time. And open the bonnet a couple times. It's not touching on that top piece anymore, which means the battery terminal has cleared, but it still feels like it's restricted somewhere, which means something else is touching, which could have been any one of those points that we marked out with the tape. So now I'll just put some more cream on all those spots and shut the bonnet, see if it's touching up here or not. You can see from the top, that's not touching anything. It's too far back, as was this, but just in case. Yeah, that should be everything. So I've got cream right on the ridges of all the really high spots, which I'm hoping would translate to the bonnet, and we'll see. We'll shut it, push it. So I'm just putting as much pressure as I can all around it, just making sure that it's touching all those spots. And now when we fill it up, we should have our high spots. Yeah, so right there, you can see those marks, and here, and same as this side. All right, so again, we're just going to be grinding all those spots that we're touching. they're not touching too hard, so I might have to just put some marker around them or something just so it doesn't wipe off and I don't lose it. But yeah, I'll start grinding that and we'll go from there. Grinded back. The goal is to make it as small as possible, just to make sure that it doesn't interfere. But yeah, with all these aftermarket parts, you might have to modify as much as possible. Yeah, so we'll just shut the bonnet. The cream is still there, so if it touches again, we'll do it all over again. So we'll shut it and check. Yeah. That gap is definitely getting a lot closer now. You can see right there. This is basically flush now to the factory guard. This is a bit high. So we'll just have to play with that a bit more and make sure, you know, we'll just lift this back up again. See if there's any more cream on the inside of the bonnet. Yeah. That should be everything. You can see minor marks there. Right there, that's right there and there. But I'll try shutting the bonnet. I need 2 hands for that. If it shuts, beautiful. If it doesn't, then there has to be more grinding to do. There would be more grinding to do. Pretty sure that is everything. Like when I'm pressing on the bonnet, it feels like it wants to lock. But being an aftermarket bonnet, we might have to just play with the adjustments a bit, which is where the latches and the hinges themselves, just to bring that bonnet up. Because when we shut it, you can see that it's kind of flush right here. It's flush, but back there and this whole edge is just too high. So it might need, that bonnet just might need to come out a bit more to line up with the front better, and same goes with this side. So I'll do that now and hopefully that fixes the problem. If it doesn't, there must be something else going on, which then we'll start playing with the latch itself and all the other stuff that to adjust this as much as possible. I'll do that now. Alright, so I've been trying to get this thing to shut the whole time. It's not locking when I shut the bonnet all the way down. It just feels like something's holding it up. And it's really close to locking. It's just not shutting. So I've had a quick look underneath in that main strut bar that's holding the top of the radiator support up. That looks like it's bent. I don't know if you can see right in there. Looks like it's bent, which is dragging it just that little bit too far down, dragging the actual lock down. So I'm going to take off the bumper and get that pulled straight out to hopefully lift that up and make sure that bonnet locks. So I've loosened it because sometimes they've got a bit of movement, as you can see on the lock itself, but it's still not enough to lift it up. It's still not enough to lift it high enough for that bonnet to actually catch into it. So yeah, I'll be pulling that brace out to lift it a bit higher. And yeah, so first I'll just get the bumper off, and yeah. Alright, so as you can see, that's the brace that I'm talking about. And can you see how it's just bowed in right there? And the whole lock is like that. So I'm going to be pulling that back out, and that should just lift it enough for us to actually close the lock. Yeah, the boys, we got it locking. I had to adjust right there on the actual striker because it was touching this bit where you have to unlock the actual bonnet. I had to drill a little hole, move that metal out of the way, and put the screws back in. So now I'm going to put the bumper back on and this top lock cover. Just make sure that's not touching at all because we couldn't check it before. Now we'll put that on, make sure none of the other spots are touching since it is dropping lower now. And if it's all good to go, then we can start on the hood pins. Alright, so that's the bumper back on. The top lock cover's back on. This is freaking beautiful. I had to replace the 2 bolts here and there because they were just a bit too long. I also had to re-rivet this one as the old bolt was just spinning around, it wouldn't come off. So I had to cut that out and do all that stuff to it. You can see where the old top lock was touching right there. It just nicked that and that. Yeah, so now with these bolts it shouldn't touch anything. They're a lot smoother. Test it again. I've tested this thing about 1,000 times so far, but it is what it is. This is how it's done. Now we'll shut it one more time. Oh, put the plastic out the way. Shut it one more time. Check everything. Yeah, that's perfect. Bonnet's all completely locked and it's actually secured. You can see the gap on this side. I don't know if you can see it. The gap's really, really tight, and then on the other side, it's a lot wider. So I'll take off all the plastic and get the gaps as nice as possible first, before we actually do the quick release bonnet latches. Bonnet's all locked. All that's left to do now is just to install the quick release for the bonnet latch. We're thinking of going right here. The hole fits perfectly right there, and all this does is just you push the button and it pops off, and then when you shut the bonnet it locks it back on. So I'm going to put these on, install them, and then we'll do the same process with that cream on the tops of this to see where it's touching inside the bonnet, and drill that through and make the hole big enough, and that should line up perfectly. The actual lock itself should line up perfectly there. So just like before, we'll add a bit of cream on the top of it. There and there. And we'll shut the bonnet, see where it touches. And voila. And just like that, we've got our 2 marks that we need to cut out, right there and there. I'm going to put a small hole through it first, and as a pilot hole, see where that pops out on the bonnet, and then from the top side, we'll make the hole bigger. Now all we have to do is find a hole saw that's just as big as this and get the hole made for the top side. It needs to be a bit bigger than the size of this, but smaller than this, just so it doesn't fall through the top. Which I reckon this size, which is just a bit less. If we can go smaller. And then from the top side, that's pretty good. It's just, I just don't like that. It's a bit, it would work. It's just, I don't like how thin that would be. So I'm going to find something that's a bit smaller than this, and we'll try that one. So I've made 3 different holes with the step drill. That's the smallest one I've made so far. Then there, and then that's the step drill just falling all the way through. The first one, it doesn't go through at all. This one is too tight. It will force it through, but it's just a bit too tight. And then the third one just gives us a tiny bit of wiggle room, if you can see that. I'm most likely going to go with the last one on the top of the bonnet, just to make sure this does have a bit of space to just move around. Yeah, I'll do that on top, and then on the bottom we'll probably use this one to clear the nut and be able to actually torque it down as well. Alright, so I'm going to chuck these back on the tripod. I'm going to drill the holes on the inside of this bonnet. I can't do it with one hand. I'm going to drill these holes, make them a lot bigger, and then the top holes so that the quick release sits in properly. And yeah. And the top, we're just going to drill the step drill all the way through. Alright, so now we've got the hole made. The bottom hole's a lot bigger, so we can fit the nut through it. I'm just going to go test it. Test the left-hand side one first. Alright, so that's both of them in there. They're not tightened up or anything yet, but they are just barely holding on. But as you can see, it's centered. It should be perfect now. I'm going to cut off all these fibers to make it prettier, and yeah. Now all we have to do is just test it, and if it locks, yeah, that's locked, and that's locked. So that's holding. Obviously, it's a bit too high, but that's because I left those rods way too high. I left it high on purpose so I can close the bonnet and check it. Now I'll do all the fine tuning to actually drop that bonnet nice and flush again. As you can see, it's a bit too high. It's all lined up and it's locking. We've got that one to lock, and the center one to still latch. We're going to just mark out where this is sitting right now, because like I said before, it does have a bit of movement, and those rods down the bottom have to be dead center for it to lock into place. So now that I tightened them up, but just snug, not very tight, so it has a bit of movement. Right now all I'm going to do is just put some tape to mark out where it's supposed to stay, and when I open it back up, I can tighten it to that specific spot. That's both of them locked. Perfect opportunity to show you how this bonnet's still going to open. I'll go unlatch the car. And then it's push, pop, push and pop, and then the factory. All I'm doing right now is just going to tighten that nut in there, right there. Just going to tighten it as tight as possible while still making sure it's located right from the top with those 4 pieces of tape that I put on. All right, and that's literally everything. So they're still lined up perfectly where they're supposed to be, left and right. It's still locked. We'll just check it one more time. So lock this one, closed, and then the middle one. And then to open it back up, it's literally reversed. So we still have the bonnet latch there. Push on the button. Push the button. And unhook it. Perfect. Now that's literally everything fitting up. The gaps are still Mickey. All that's left to do now is just to clean up all this sort of stuff. Pull these back out again. Put the thread locker on it and tighten them up as well. As you can see, they're a bit loose. Oh, can you see that? It's just a tiny bit loose. I'm going to pull it back off, get everything locked up nice. Now we know exactly where it's supposed to be. I'll mark that out as well, so we don't have to guess it again. So we don't have to find out again. Done. And then obviously clean up all the fibers and stuff from the edges. Give it a good blow down, and she's ready to go. Alright, so I've got it all done. I've got the quick releases on. The bonnet's still latching. It still has the factory hook down the bottom. It's got both of them. It's pretty good. It's not moving anywhere. It's pretty tight it's pretty tight all the way around. The gap is perfect up here and down here. However, right there, no matter what we've done, still a bit of a gap, which is honestly pretty normal for carbon fiber parts and fiberglass. But yeah, now it's ready for a wash and it's ready to terrorize the racetrack. And just like that, this thing's all done. Look at that carbon in the sun. It looks off its head. The two quick releases are perfectly symmetrical. That turbo is just peeking off its head right now. But yeah, this thing's going to be at Black Label and at Tough Streeters. So if you do see it, please take a photo, mention us, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one.